show that in principle, social media marketing is not new. It's just that things that are now done digitally, but basic marketing and communication principles do remain the same. So traditional mainstream approaches to promoting a business, back 20 to 30 years ago, was through television and radio. And, what you would find with that particular approach was that it was broadcasting at an audience and not engaging with them. And I think everyone would agree that this is, has now been carried over to social media. Anyone that uses social media would know that there is more interaction with big companies and big brands from these platforms. It is the new go-to place for people, and this is why social media is one of the strongest channels to advertise and promote your business. It's a place to be seen, a place to be heard, and a place for new businesses to tell everyone that they exist. And nobody likes to be felt that they're being sold to. So building a rapport and a relationship with customers and interacting with them is extremely important, because engagement is part of that selling process. And this is why social media is known for their high success and conversions to sales as well. It is because it allows you to do just that, to engage and problem solve with your followers. It should be one of the channels businesses use in their marketing plan. And just a bit of data to take away with you as well. Radio took 38 years to reach 50 million users. TV took 13 years to reach 50 million users, and the internet took 4 years to reach that amount of users. So this just shows clearly how rapidly the internet is used and what its reach is as well. So these platforms are tools for us to actually communicate. But what we keep reiterating to our clients is that being on these platforms doesn't make you automatically successful. Although your access to your target customers has increased, at the end of the day, it is down to how well you use these tools, what content you put out there, what strategy you're using, and how much thought and planning is actually being put into your content. So you do need to be strategic in what you do. And the power of social media can be overlooked as well sometimes, but the results you get from just these platforms alone is amazing. So not being on there can mean that you're losing out on a lot of business. So the presentation is just an overview. So we won't be going into any significant amount of detail in that 3-hour webinar. Okay, next slide. Okay, so to be fair, there are hundreds of platforms online these days where businesses can advertise their products and services. But what you'll find is that it can be time consuming if you got too many social media accounts, and it can get very hard to manage all of them to an extent where you may end up giving up and being very inconsistent with posting, and it can have an adverse effect on your business and its reputation. So the common practice and suggestions that we give is to focus on maybe 2 to 3 platforms that the businesses can manage very well and be actively present on them. It is important to let them know also that it's one thing, posting content, but another thing to be found. Hence why it's really important to know, how to reach your target audience online. And businesses do need to focus on those 4 disciplines in their marketing strategies, which is advertising, promotion, marketing, and selling. We go into that in a lot more detail, within our webinars. So I'm not going to go through that today. Okay. So we do talk about why you would use social media for your business, and we do this in a lot of detail with this. So and we give several examples, but just to name a few, it's free. So you do need to, although it's free, you do need to spend a lot of time and ideally enjoy the process. It's about engaging with brands and companies as well. And also it's another traffic driver, so funnel starter, and redirecting customers back to your website as well. And also search engines actually, like Google, actually love social media. So being present on there would help with the algorithms and get your social media pages on the Google page. And remember, Google accounts for approximately approximately 91% of online searches. So you may have also experienced yourselves where you type something in on one platform, you go to another one, and then, you know, automatically you're bombarded with so many recommendations of that same product or service that you just searched for. And I'm sure you've all experienced that. And that's because Google and social media platforms, they talk to one another, and each of these platforms hold a lot of information about you. And, so for example, social media platforms have all your demographic information and things that you search for on their platform. And then Google will have information about what you've just typed in. So automatically what your needs are, what your wants are, what you want to buy, you know, what your hobbies are and what your interests are. And when you combine all that information together, that's valuable information that you have about each person. And as a business owner, that puts you at an advantage, and you want your services and products to be recommended by platforms like Facebook to your potential clients. So you can pay Facebook to share your posts with those clients, and increase that visibility. And lastly, another point that why you'd use social media is the trust factor. So having no social media presence can look as if like you don't want to be contacted or found. But first, we do talk about understanding your target customers, your target audience, and we do that in a lot more detail. So here we talk about some statistics as well. So you can't be on all platforms as your time resources just won't allow you to do that. But researching about who your target audience are and what channels they use will help determine what platforms you need to be on as a business. So like I mentioned before, we always suggest starting with maybe 2. And when your business grows, increase your resources and then increase your channels as well. So we help our clients get through mind blocks as well, not just on this webinar, but through, going through all that information in our one-to-one sessions as well. So this is something that we talk about as well. Okay, so search engines, in particularly Google, they put a lot of emphasis on live streaming. So this is because it wants to show timely and relevant information, and they consider these live streaming to be one of these. So we go through this in a lot more detail in our webinar as well. And we talk about the power of sharing your information or sharing videos and content on social media. Now, viral videos can also generate you an additional income, separate from what you're buying, what you're selling to your clients, whether it's a service or a product. This is just an example of a simple home video which went viral. I'm sure you've all heard of this, and you've seen this video yourselves. And this video itself has, roughly over about 850 million views on this, and it's brought the family over I think £500,000 in revenue, which can be life-changing. So again, this just gives you a screenshot of how powerful social media is. Okay. So we talk about the different types of social media platforms you can use to create ads, and ads is just another way to get more people following you and quickly as well. So LinkedIn is the best platform to be on for professionals or individuals with a professional background that makes them credible to run their business or run their own business within that same field. Some clients, or majority, 99% of clients, will actually search on places like Google and LinkedIn for the owner of the business, and just to know, learn a bit more about them as an individual before they close a deal with them, or before paying towards any of their products and services. So we help support and give advice to our clients on how to present themselves on LinkedIn, and we talk about this in detail in our webinar as well. So this slide is about why bother, why would you have a LinkedIn account, and then we just talk about the differences between having a business page and a personal page as well. And then we also have a few slides on giving some tips and tricks on LinkedIn, and how to write articles and attach them to your LinkedIn. So I've actually just taken a few snippets. There's a lot more slides covering each topic. So this is just a couple of snippets. So we've got a few more slides on LinkedIn as well. We discussed Twitter as another platform, online platform, and then again, some tips and advice on how to use this platform. So we briefly talk about Facebook in this webinar as well, but not too much, because we actually have a separate webinar, a 3-hour-long webinar on Facebook alone. And that's because it's one of the largest platforms. It's one of the largest platforms with many features that can be helpful for businesses. And we go from talking about how to create a page all the way to actually creating ads, the more complex stuff that you would want to do. So that's on a separate webinar. So in this particular webinar, we kept it relatively simple and short, and we just talk about why you'd use Facebook, advice on how to use it, and what to do as well. And we briefly talk about analytics. So, and this isn't just on Facebook. This is actually on all the different platforms that you use. All data related and the juicy stuff, so the analytics. So reading data and analytics actually helps businesses with their success. It's linked to their success, and that's because they can look into what's going on, what's doing really well, what isn't, and what they're currently posting, and then they use that information to then make decisions on what they're going to continue to do and what not to do. So it actually helps with future business decisions as well. And then we talk a little bit more about reading data and comparing your page to your competitors on a platform like this as well. So where you need to go and how you do this. So Instagram is also owned by Meta. It's another powerful and entertaining platform to be on. I can literally talk about Instagram for hours, because it's just a very entertaining platform to be on, and it's very, very powerful as well in what you can do with engaging with clients and converting those followers to paid clients as well. So YouTube is the second largest platform. And if you want to educate, entertain, or provide how-to videos to the public, this is the place to be, okay? And on this platform alone, you can generate income in 4 to 5 different ways as well. So you've got the YouTube views monetization, you've got the shorts, you've got AdSense, and then you've got brand deals and affiliates, and then also you've got the YouTube shop as well, which has been newly introduced. So there's different ways of generating income on YouTube alone. Okay, so people use Pinterest for inspiration on particular subjects. So for example, it could be organizing a wedding, or redecorating your house, getting a bit of ideas on what to do. And the idea of using this particular platform is great for creative businesses in particular. And what you do is you post pictures and pin those images with your details attached to it. So when people click onto that, it will take them directly to your website. And Flickr is just a place where you'd add pictures and link these pictures back to your website again to gain more traction. So we talk briefly about that as well. And then there's Patreon, and that is the kind of new YouTube competitor. It's a subscription model and a lot more straightforward than YouTube. We walk you through the basics of this platform and what you can achieve and expect on here as well. Okay, so we also help our clients with how they can manage their social media accounts, what tools to use to make things easier. Usually clients can find this particular part the most frustrating and difficult, not knowing how to do it and ending up paying someone to teach them or paying someone to manage their accounts for them, which may end up being an expensive choice for a startup business. So these are some of the valuable information we provide to our clients and ways that they can save money as a business. Okay, so to help, just to help and the help and support that we provide clients relating to social media has actually got a direct link to the success of their business, and it contributes to the increase in their sales as well, whether that's online or offline. Now that's because they learn the importance of brand awareness. Okay, they learn different techniques and strategies on how to advertise. You need to also bear in mind that we as advisors, we as advisors, we share our own experiences and what has worked well for us and our businesses as well in the past too. And that's creating, we're also creating convenience to the clients with what platforms to choose in order for them to make payment. And it also gives opportunity to plan and create their own marketing and advertising strategies. Okay, so where to start, what to do, how to do it, and plan and prepare. And lastly, brainstorming the different content that they can use. And lastly, we've got the Feel Good service as well. That's on our website.